Welcome everyone to Heroes of Boredom's first... What are we calling it again?
The thing?
What thing?
The cosplay closet?
Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know. I don't even know if the mic is picking this up.
It's probably not. It makes it all the more funny. Anyways, I'm Samantha.
I'm Jason.
That's it?
They know me. Alright, so welcome to Cosplay Closet. This is going to be a show pretty much showing us creating cosplay. It's pretty much got no script. We don't even know what we're doing most of the time, but we're going to make things and we're going to share the outcome with you, the viewer.
What? First up, our cosplays are going to be for this year's ASIN. For anyone who doesn't know what ASIN stands for, Anime Central. It's held here in Chicago, Illinois, specifically Rosemont. This year it's happening anywhere between, it's May 20th?
Something like that.
The 22nd?
The end of May. The end of May.
I think that's the weekend. Fact check me on that. Non-existent camera guy. This year for ASIN, Jason and I are deciding to do a Digimon theme. Originally we wanted to do Cardcaptor Sakura because it's my favorite manga and anime of all time. Unfortunately, due to time constraints of us deciding to do these cosplays, wasn't really feasible for us to be able to do Sakura and Sharon. So I switched it over and said, hey, let's do Digimon. And Jason was like, well, what would we do? And I was like, well, why not Terriermon and Lopmon? And for those of you who don't know who Terriermon and Lopmon are, hopefully we can edit in a little something here so that you can see who both of them are. And so Jason's going to be Terriermon and I'm going to be Lopmon. So yeah. Why do you keep looking at the screen instead of looking at the camera?
Because I look so good. Anyway, so Anime Central is the May. It is May 20th through the 22nd, 2016 at Rosemont, Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
Woot for being right. So, in case I didn't introduce myself before in the opening, my name's Samantha. I'm Jason's fiance. Sorry, guys. Taken. So, like Jason mentioned, we had already started working on these Kigurumis. Now, for those of you who aren't super nerds like Jason and I are, Kigurumis are onesies, typically. In Japan, when you see people dressing up as like those Pikachu costumes that you see and doing the dance, that's considered a Kigurumi. Kigurumis have also become known to be onesies, like this pattern here. And this is actually the pattern that Jason and I have been using for our Kigurumis. It's simplicity number 1731, in case you can't read. And you can see you've got the mom, the dad, you get a little girl pattern, and you can also do...
That's out of frame.
You could also do it for your little dog. Alright, so now that you guys know what the pattern is, let's get started. When you purchase the pattern, on the back it tells you the breakdown of how many yards you're going to need and whether or not you are going to need elastic for the things. You can't quite tell in the picture, but there's elastic around their ankles and there's elastic around their wrists as well. In this case for our Kigurumis, Jason and I decided to opt out for that. We're only going to have short sleeves and shorts, so we don't need to be all constrained and stuff. It also gives you the option to have a hood with or without the elastic, so you can keep that in mind when you're buying the supplies that you need for this pattern. In our case, we just decided to go with cotton fabric. For Jason's white and my brown, we ended up getting 4 yards a piece. Officially for Jason's, I should have actually gotten more than 4 yards. I screwed up a lot. Quite embarrassing, actually. Which, disclaimer, this is the first time I've actually really made something, okay? I've made a whole bunch of knitting things and crocheting things. Never, never, ever, ever in my entire life have I really made anything sewing wise. So I was expecting to screw up a lot, and I did. I was proud of myself. I met my expectations. But yeah, so for the for the brown and for the white, we ended up getting 4 yards. For the pink and the gray, I ended up getting 2 yards apiece. Again, for Jason's, probably really should have gotten 3 yards for the green, just because, as you could see in the video, or in the opening, the triangle wasn't put on his Kigurumi just yet. Still working on it, but it's 9/10 of the way done, people. Don't worry about it. Another thing that you're going to need is your zipper, because of course you're going to have to be able to zip it up. It's not going to be easy to get in and out of a onesie without it. With Jason's Kigurumi, we ended up using a sports zipper, and the sports zippers are going to be different from this all-purpose zipper that I have. The sports zippers are zippers that are found mainly in your hoodies or like your tracksuits or stuff like that, things that are supposed to be more wear and tear worthy. I decided to go with the all-purpose zipper for mine just because, one, I like the smaller teeth. It looks more aesthetically pleasing to me. And 2, I'm a lot less rough on my clothes than Jason is. When you open up the pattern and you actually get all the pieces set up, it tells you what number of pieces you're going to need. Make sure you read. This was the biggest error I had. There are 3 pieces. 3! Just for the hood alone. Okay, this isn't even including the dog's hood. I'm assuming that the dog's hood is part of the extra small one. Okay, so here's what initially happened. I cut the extra small, not realizing that it was the extra small until after I cut the white. Okay, that's fine. Let's go get more fabric. Second time around, found the second hood pattern. Cut that one out, but that was only for the large size. Well, we made Jason's an extra large, so it wasn't fitting. So we had to go back and get more white. Finally, third time's a charm, right? Found the extra large pattern for the hood, cut it out, and that's the pattern that we've got now that worked out. So, always make sure you read. Please read. After you have all the patterns cut out, you can look at the bottom here. Alright? You can see, depending on the way that your fabric is, it's going to tell you how to lay it out so that you utilize the most amount of fabric for your patterns. You're not wasting any. I recommend that if you're a beginner like I am, utilize that, because wasting fabric is not a good idea. Trust me, especially now that Jason no longer has his job. I don't want to be wasting money and throwing things down the drain. Now that you know all of that, let me actually get cutting. What you want to do before you start cutting, you want to wash your fabric. Your fabric's going to get washed in different temperatures depending on the fabric that you've got. Since Jason and I are working with cotton, we ended up washing it in a warm water and a light tumble sequence. Typically, they tell you don't wash with fabric softener. It'll not necessarily ruin it, but it'll mess with the fibers of the fabric itself. I really don't give a crap, honestly. So, and I don't even remember if we used it or not. So, but just make sure you wash your fabric before you cut it. It ends up shrinking the fabric so that it's more accurate in size. Before I officially start pinning this down, I need to figure out where it is that I am stopping my leg, because this is a front piece and the other one's the back piece. Okay, so I need to figure out where it is that I want this fabric to lay on me as shorts. So what I've gone and done, I've gotten a pair of shorts that I like, and I like where they lay on me. Okay, now these shorts I'm going to have to turn sideways to fit my pattern piece because of the way that it's set up, because it's being cut not really on a fold, but it's being cut like it's folded, okay? So what you end up doing is you take the crotches and you line it up with the crotch on the pattern, okay? This is just one way of doing it. So I would go realistically, because I want the butt.
I wonder how much of the noise is picking up.
So I'd be cutting it about here for the proper length. Now another way that you could do this, put the shorts on, measure from your waist to where you want the shorts to lie, okay? And then what you would have to do is you would have to, on the pattern piece here it says waistline, take that measurement, go from the waistline here down on the pattern, mark it, and cut it. Hopefully that made sense. I ended up using initially it was the extra large pattern for me to see how the extra large was going to fit when I did this in fleece. Turns out it's gigantic on me. I don't know why I didn't think it wasn't going to be gigantic. I'm only 5'5". So after everything was said and done, I tried to shrink it up enough so that it looked like it was going to be the large pattern, but it's still really, really big on me. So I'm going and I'm sticking to my medium sizes. If anything has taught me to stick with the size that you're supposed to be, it's this pattern.
Yep. Recording again.
Okay. Something else. Always have 2 pairs of scissors. One pair to actually cut paper or your actual pattern piece, and another pair of scissors specifically only for fabric. If there's one thing that I've learned with my mom being a seamstress, she always would yell at me to not use my good scissors. First, I cut the pattern to the size I'm intending to cut it to, and then I cut the fabric. Now, you don't have to do it that way. There are tools out there for you to be able to trace the pattern onto the fabric, like washable pencils or fabric chalk. I just don't choose to use it that way. Sadly, with the way that I end up doing it, we didn't end up getting any good footage of me pinning. But essentially, you just take the pattern, pin it right on top of the fabric, and cut it as close as possible. Now, you'll see that I end up putting the ruler down on the fabric at one point. That's because I didn't line up the straight of the grain. This is probably the biggest thing that you have to remember when laying out your pattern pieces. You can line up the straight of the grain easiest, I find, by using one of the existing lines on the cutting mat and you keeping the ruler aligned with it, and then fitting the pattern accordingly. If you don't line the fabric up straight with the straight of the grain, the finished garment won't look and won't lay right. So, you'll see on your pattern pieces, you've got these triangles. Okay, these triangles they're not darts. They are
registration marks.
Registration marks. This is going to allow you to be able to line all your pieces up. Okay? Not only does it help you align all your pieces, but it also gives you a point to where you need to put your seam. Typically it's 1/4 of an inch seam when you do things, and that's roughly about where they have the triangle marks. No, get off. Thank you. So you guys might see this and go, wait, what are you going to do? This is a salvage. This is the end of the bolt. I don't need this. This is going to be a pain in the butt to work with. So I'm going to cut it off. And you're probably going, wait, you just did all this cutting and stuff. Don't worry, I took that into account. When I measured where I wanted my leg to lie, it was going to be just after this dart here, which you probably can't see past my little... this dart. There. Okay? So, me losing an inch isn't really going to kill me. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to line up my boards here, and I'm going to cut as soon as we move the camera, because the camera's in my way, because I'm left-handed. Here we go. My rotary cutter sucks. Now, if I feel like I've cut off too much by the time I've sewn it all together and laid everything out, I'll make up for it by tacking on the pink. I'll just make the pink a little bit longer than I intended. And it'll all work out in the end. Ta-da! So that was the first body piece. Yay! Hopefully by episode 2, I'll have all the other pieces cut out. That way you don't have to sit there and snore through my speed cutting. For some reason, Jason felt that he needed to incorporate Sabrina into the film.
She's being annoying, so I picked her up. She's just throwing herself at her feet and whatnot, so doing cat things that she thinks is adorable.
They're not. So, yeah. Thanks for joining us for episode 1. I don't have any closing remarks.
One thing we did forget to say is don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe to our channel for more videos. She doesn't think you should. I think you should. I mean, like, if you want to see more of this beautiful face making cosplays and me just kind of recording it and being here, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll have more episodes of this up soon. You're not being very helpful. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Bye.